Hey, are you the one that called himself Spartan 138?
Yeah, that's me.
I'm here to do a report on where'd you come up with the character. Just look into this camera and explain how you came up with it.
I guess before we get into Spartan 138 himself, we should start with how my journey with Halo begun. I think my first experience playing Halo was back on the original Combat Evolved. You see, I have this cousin who doesn't live in the same town as me, so when he comes down to visit my auntie, now and again, I would always go around there to visit him. And this one time, he was playing Combat Evolved. He handed me a controller and we played some co-op together. This was my first experience with Halo, and although 138 was not a thing yet, it would only be the catalyst for what was to come. So then we fast forward a few years. I missed the craze of Halo 2, as I wasn't an Xbox kid, I was a PlayStation kid. But I did eventually get an Xbox 360. And then Halo 3 came out in 2007. Me and my buddy Corey had some sweet sessions on Valhalla, and this is where Spartan 138 was born. Being able to customize my character and make a service tag. Back in them days, you couldn't have more than 3 letters, you could only have 2 numbers for your service tags, so I went with I38, using the I as the number 1. This was the birth of Spartan 138. Red and gold with a CQB helmet. I then went onto the internet to see if any other people were using 138 or to see if 138 was in the official Halo canon. And I found that no one had been using the number yet. And there is actually a gap in the numbers in the official canon where 138 doesn't exist. So he ended up fitting in pretty well. So I've been Spartan 138 since 2007. Unofficially, that is, since this was just the service tag I used, and my official portrayal didn't come later till 2013. But the years between 2007 and 2013, Spartan 138 existed through online matches and sometimes roleplay games that I would do with my friends. This is a big part of why Spartan 138 is so important to me. Spartan 138 isn't just a character. He is a part of me. He is me if I was born in the Halo universe. But he's also a representation of the good times I had years ago with the people I thought were my friends. Looking back on it now, I feel like they may have just been keeping me around to be the kid to pick on. But back then, I genuinely thought I had friends. We would play Halo 3 sometimes for days, staying at each other's houses and just playing for hours and hours. But sadly, I stopped going to school and everyone graduated, and I stopped talking to a lot of the people I used to play with. I pretty much only have one friend from that group left these days, but even with him, it's not the same as it used to be. So Spartan 138, as I said earlier, isn't just a character. He is a representation of the times I spent when I was at my happiest. Because playing those games with my friends were some of the happiest moments of my life. Sadly these days, I suffer from depression, and I don't find joy in a lot of things anymore. I can probably count on my hands the things that still make me truly happy anymore. 138 is a thing I can still cling onto that lets me relive those days. So, Spartan 138 officially and publicly started becoming a character in 2013 with the attempt of making machinima. I attempted machinima beforehand with some skits and machinima segments in my toy videos, but he was the first one where I made a machinima with an actual story completely as a machinima. And it was bad! Back in them days, the way I made machinima is I would put a camera in front of the TV and hit record. so I didn't have a capture card back then. I eventually got a capture card, but it was terrible. So I got a better one, which was the Elgato. And this is when my machinimas and streams became more common for me. Spartan 138's journey grew since then. And now that Xbox has a recorder built into it, the machinimas get pumped out pretty quickly these days. 138 is now part of a whole universe, which I call the Crying Cicada series. The Crying Cicada is a UNSC ship, which 138 and all of my other Spartan OCs are aboard. I also made some writings about 138 on this place called Writers Cafe. It's a place where you write stories, and I've also posted on forums about 138's story. His lore has changed over the years though, and it's now 2022. And the machinimas are still going strong. They come out pretty regularly. So yeah, I've been Spartan 138 since 2007, and then officially made him public in 2013.
So, what's this issue that you're having with Marlo 138?
So the thing with Marlo is, I actually had no idea this guy existed till this year. I first saw his post about wanting CQB in Halo Infinite, and as a person who has also been campaigning to get CQB in Halo Infinite, I thought, oh cool, a fellow CQB lover. So I went over to his page, and I saw him call himself Marlo S138, and I was like, nah bruh, that is my number. I even have official real life dog tags with my name and number on it. So I started to look into this Marlo a bit more to see how long he's been around for, and according to the information I found on him, all of his social medias only track back to September of 2021. All except his YouTube, which goes back to 2015. However, his YouTube has no content. Well, at first I thought it had no content. I ended up finding stuff on there, but it only goes back 10 months. His very first video, again, was in September 2021. You can actually find all of Marlo's social media through something called Linktree, which has his YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Waypoint, Twitch, and Reddit on it. All of which, apart from his YouTube, was started in 2021. Now people keep saying he's been around since 2007, but if you do your research, there is literally nothing about him anywhere before September of 2021. The guy just pretty much didn't exist before then. My assumption is he has unofficially been using 138 like how I was between 2007 and 2013, where he just used it as his Halo service tag, but officially and publicly, there is nothing about him anywhere before 2021. So, obviously, after looking into Marlo, I started to look to see if there was any more Spartan 138s that existed, and I found a few. But there was only one to ever exist before 2013, and that is a YouTuber simply named Spartan 138. His YouTube was started back in June 25th, 2011. Now I bet you're probably thinking, how can I claim to be the original Spartan 138 when it's a guy who was public before me? Well, you see, the thing is, the one who has been around since 2011 does call himself Spartan 138, however, his content doesn't seem to be connected to Halo at all. Since my 138 is a Halo thing and his is not, I wouldn't claim him as actually being a Halo Spartan, so I still call myself the original Spartan 138 in regards to Halo.
So what are you going to do about Marlo 138?
Honestly, I don't know what to do about Marlo. As much as I would like him to change his number, I know he most likely won't, so there's no point in trying to convince him to do that. The thing is, Marlo is becoming very popular, even more so than I am. And even though I've been around since 2013, and he's only been around since 2021, he's obviously doing something better than me because he's becoming more well known than I am. And the problem with that is people are starting to say he's the original Spartan 138, which just isn't true. The most I want is to just educate people that I'm the original 138. I want Marlo to acknowledge and let people know he's not the original. If anything, even if he's unaware of me, Marlo is kind of an exact copy of me. Like his tweets and Facebook posts about CQB is exactly what I have been doing. I even showed Marlo to a few people and they all said the same thing. They said, this guy is a copy of me. Well, like a copy of you, a copy of me. But anyway, back on track. I would just be happy if he announced that I was the original Spartan 138. Hell, I would even take it if he announced that the guy who made the YouTube in 2011 was the original. As long as people stop saying that he's the original. That is all I'm hoping for. The thing is, Marlo probably doesn't even know I exist. The people who keep defending him and such, and the reason why I keep making these machinimas and bitching about him, isn't really because of Marlo himself, it's the ones I have deemed the minions of Marlo. If anything, they're the ones making this whole situation worse. They claim that they're sticking up for their friend, but really, they're just being antagonizing. There is even some people who have specifically made new Twitter accounts just to message me about Marlo, or because I made a machinima about killing off all the Spartan 138s. Marlo wasn't even the only 138 in the video. I killed off like 3 or more, but it's only the Marlo minions who have had an issue with it. I've heard nothing from Marlo himself, so I'm pretty sure he doesn't even know I exist or care. Like, there is this one guy who messaged me directly saying I'm stealing from Marlo, which just isn't true, considering I was here first. And I don't know why they're bitching over machinima anyway. It's a fucking machinima. It's not real. It's a fictional story. The thing is, I have a lot of, like, anger and stress issues, so I'm not making these machinimas to attack people. I'm making them as like a coping mechanism. When someone pisses me off and makes me angry, to help me cope with it, what I do is I make fictional stories where I kill the person who's pissing me off. It's not to attack them, it's just to cope with my own anger and stress. So I don't know what these fucking minions of Marlo's problems are. They clearly don't understand who I am.
So where do you want to go from here?
Well, as of now, I just want to keep making more stories for my Spartan 138. I had so many planned for him already. I did want to copyright Spartan 138, but since he's connected to Halo, I can't, because Halo belongs to Microsoft and 343. So oh well. But hopefully these minions of Marlo will back off and let me forget about him. Because really, the only reason I keep bitching about him so much is because they keep bringing him up. If I could just forget about him, I feel everything will be better. And I can just continue with my own Spartan 138.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief, Spartan 117. I have an incoming communique coming in on a secure line to Spartan 138. Cameron, your code name is now Moonlight Ninja.
Greetings, Reclaimers. I am 343 Guilty Spark, monitor of Installation 04. I would like to remind you meddlers to like and subscribe to Moonlight Ninja. Remember what happened to Sergeant Johnson when he disobeyed protocol? I'm a genius.